Welcome back, Mando.
Oh, ho, ho, ho. Greetings, Bucketheads. Mevar Tagar. Welcome to our 313th Passionately Protecting the Protectors episode of Mandovision. I am your host, Nargai Tom, and thank you so much for checking out this small independent Star Wars podcast. We are so glad you're here. We are a little late, but thank you for being here. I apologize for dropping the show a little bit later in the week than initially it planned on, but hey. Again, I thank you for the support and for being here. Reach out to us on the socials. Let me know if you like a Friday release. Hit me up at Mando_Vision on Twitter and Instagram. Mandovision at Blue Sky. And you can email the show, mandovisiontom@gmail.com. Make sure to like, subscribe, follow, and share this show with all the Mandalorians in your covert. All right, Bucketheads, we're back. We're returning to our Star Wars Rebels rewatch series. And I think I needed this. I'm still sort of catching my breath after that incredible epic finale for Andor. Still reeling from everything going on in that series. And as I mentioned during those episodes, we will dive more deeply into Season 2 of Andor on an episode-by-episode basis. We will just do that a little bit down the road. Want to give us a little bit of distance from it so that we can kind of plug back into it. When we have a moment to do that, right? Like, Andor hit so hard, I want to give myself some space before we go back into it. So we'll take a few weeks, get back into Rebels, probably finish Season 2 of Rebels, and then hit Andor once again. So that's sort of the itinerary for the time being. We have a big episode today as we plug back in. There's a lot of stuff in this episode for us old head fans. Those of us who remember the EU. So we're going to be talking a lot about that. And, we get some Mandalorian stuff in this one. We get a little taste of Sabine's backstory, who to this point has been sort of our mystery character. A lot of her background shrouded in secrets and vagarities. But hey, we start getting some answers, start getting some of the mysteries. Because again, the Mandalore stuff becomes pretty darn important in this series as we go along. So this is sort of the first taste of it. A scene where the Mandalorians are after the events of the Clone Wars and the Siege of Mandalore and all that good stuff that we finally got in the delayed but finally available Season 7 of the Clone Wars. So yeah, a lot of stuff to get into on this one. We'll talk a little bit about Concord Dawn and some of its EU history. And we're going to have fun with this one, friends. So let's go ahead and get into the episode. You know what that means. It is time. Strap on your buckets. Let's go.
I'm afraid the only way you're getting out of here alive is if she kills me, and that is not going to happen.
What is it with you Mandalorians? Never knowing how to solve anything except through the end of a blaster. Sabine, you do this. You're no better than him.
All right, this is Star Wars Rebels, Season 2, Episode 13, The Protector of Concord Dawn. Original air date January 27th, 2016. Oh yeah. Directed by Brad Rao, written by Henry Gilroy and Kevin Hops. Our primary cast for this week: Taylor Gray is Ezra Bridger, Vanessa Marshall is Harrison Dula, Freddie Prinze Jr. is Kanan Jarrus, Tia Sakar as Sabine Wren, Steve Blum is Zeb, Dave Filoni is Chopper, Keone Young is Commander Sato, Kevin McKidd is Fen Rao, and of course D. Bradley Baker is Rex. All right, friends, our plot for this episode: well, in need of new hyperspace routes due to Imperial pressure, the rebels find a shortcut but must gain permission from the leader of the nearby system. And that leader is none other than Fen Rao, the Mandalorian pilot, who we find out has a backstory, has a lot of connection to the rebels, to the Clone Wars era of the show, and to some of these rebels in particular. So Concord Dawn was a part of Expanded Universe from back in the day, long existing in the Expanded Universe. strong connections to Mandalore. During the time of the prequels, it was even fleshed out a little bit more as like an agricultural planet for the Mandalores, and became the home of Jango Fett and other Mandalorians of Concord Dawn include Rako Hardeen and some of the Q Vardal of the Karen Travis Mandalorian era novels. So it has a big history in the expanded universe, but like a lot of things Mandalorian based, anything prior to the Clone Wars, it was always subject to what Lucas and Filoni and the creatives on Clone Wars and on the Rebels wanted to do with things. So a lot of the great Mandalorian lore was thrown out. The stuff we have I do really like, but I have a really, really big soft spot for all these old elements of the expanded universe, like Concord Dawn. Jaster Muriel was part of this. Jango Fett part of this. Sort of like the Fett connections are big on Concord Dawn, and like by and large are kind of like thrown out. I don't remember if in the new Disney canon, if Jango still hails from Concord Dawn or not. I'd have to double check on that. But as part of the expanded universe, Concord Dawn was a big deal. So having it reintroduced in Rebels here, you're getting some changes to things, but it's still kind of cool that it's being included. And as we have found out over the years, there's ways to still kind of make some of these things work. You just got to reconfigure and reimagine like all the stuff that's in my head canon. There's probably still ways to kind of like squeeze that square peg into like that round hole a little bit. At least you can make the effort to do so. Kind of neat to see it included here. But check out their expanded universe lore if you really want to find out some of the big things that Concord Dawn had going for it. One element that I do like in this new series is, as we first see Concord Dawn, is the fact that Sabine says there have been 100 Mandalorian wars, and Concord Dawn's been at the center of a lot of them. So it's this planet that has like a third of it blown away as a result of some of these wars that the Mandalorians have engaged in with each other. And again, it sort of says a lot about, we get a lot of Mandalorian insight that we didn't get during the Clone Wars, because we heard about the Mandalorian Civil War. We know they basically glassed their planet, but you see more evidence of just how hardcore they are when they go against each other. So that was sort of a fun thing in that regard. Not fun in like the fun way, not like we're enjoying the death of Mandalorians here. No. So as we said in the plot, our team, Phoenix Squadron, we need to get some more hyperspace routes. Kanan had just come back from running a mission, and it was harder and harder to get away as Imperial pressure on the Outer Rim is increasing to try and snuff out the rebel activity. So they think they know a spot. It's through Concord Dawn, but they got to get permission from Fen Rao, basically, the leader of the people of Concord Dawn, a Mandalorian. You would think that, by extension, the Empire is now occupying Mandalore. You would think Fen Rao, he'd come to the side of the rebels, be easy peasy. Well, not so fast. The Empire is paying Fen Rao to monitor space traffic through Concord Dawn. Dawn. I keep saying Dawn and down. I'm getting them mixed up. I apologize. But yeah, so Fen Rao is monitoring space traffic through Concord Dawn and basically working for the Empire. He's a gun for hire, basically. He's kind of a mercenary. And they don't know that yet. Hera goes, she wants to try diplomacy. She believes that she can talk Fen Rao into joining the rebels, make an ally, not an enemy. Of course, it all goes horribly wrong. And we get to see the Fang fighters engage against some A-Wings. And those Fang fighters, pretty darn powerful, man. Like, they got some good firepower, and I like the combat tactics that they can employ too. Really, really cool stuff. Yeah, I dig it. And then we get this the scene. Hera's trying to get her team out of there. Some of the A-Wing pilots get blown up, but Hera's plotting her out. They're going to get out of there. She's providing cover so that everyone can escape. Sabine's the last one to go. Hera's providing cover for her. And Fen Rao then blows Hera's starship to itty-bitty pieces just as it jumps into hyperspace. And then we get like I think it's a really powerful shot of her ship emerging from hyperspace, just blown to pieces. And Phoenix Squadron, Kanan, the reaction of Kanan, Sabine, all of it. Super great stuff. Of course, Hera lives. Surprise, surprise. But Sabine is pretty pissed. And she's going to go back and get some vengeance on Fen Rao for what he did. But Kanan trying to honor what Hera wanted to do, using diplomacy, using the skills of inclusion, right? Like bring these people to our side to help strengthen our numbers. And so Kanan has to sort of caution Sabine against doing anything crazy. And he doesn't want Sabine to go. He believes she is just focused on revenge. So he wants to go by himself. Well, Sabine sneaks aboard as they make their way to the third moon of Concord Dawn, where they have figured out there is a presence, a Mandalorian presence, and that's where Sabine had tracked the ships to. But they come up with a plan. They're gonna once they see that the Empire's involved, they witness the transaction, and it changes things around a little bit. So they're gonna blow up the starships, right? They're gonna blow up the Mandalorian Fang fighters so that this can't happen again. Because if they can't come to terms with Fen Rao, they're gonna make sure that they can't harm the Rebel Alliance at this point. The Rebel cells that exist at this point that are gonna have to use Concord Dawn as a hyperspace route. So Kanan sneaks in while Sabine is running around planting explosives on the Fang fighters, and Fen Rao's having some broth, but he was aware. He knew Kanan was sneaking around, and very quickly determines that he's a rebel, but doesn't know that he's a Jedi until Kanan tells him, and they begin having a discussion over some broth about the third battle of Maigito. And Kanan being there as a young Padawan with Depa Billaba, and how they were pinned behind enemy lines, pinned down by the Separatist forces. And it was Fen Rao and his fighter squadrons providing them cover that allowed them to live to see another day. So Kanan starts off by thanking him for that, but it also becomes, again, Kanan's trying to be diplomatic. He wants to bring Fen Rao over, but Fen remembers the Clone Wars and how it didn't work out so great for the Mandalorian people and the situation that he's in now. He feels like he chose the wrong side of that war, and now look at what has become of him and become of the Mandalorians. So it doesn't really connect him in a way. It sort of gives him good terms to be on with Kanan, but I wouldn't say Kanan's persuading him necessarily. Now it's about this time that Sabine is found and captured, and drops some big knowledge on everyone that she is of Clan Ren of House Vizsla. As we all know, since we're big-time Star Wars fans, House Vizsla, that's Death Watch, baby. That's bad news. They consider her to be a traitor. And very quickly, Sabine's like, no, my mom's a traitor, not me. I'm not doing that stuff. I'm here right now, and I'm calling for like single combat because I got some vengeance to get. And of course, the Mandalorians have a code for single combat, right? So let's get into it. Kanan freaks out, doesn't want her to go down this path. Kanan still thinks he can bring Fen Rao over to the Rebel side. And it seems like Sabine just wants revenge for what happened to Hera. And that's what she tells Fen, is that, hey, you blew my friend to pieces, and I'm going to get some payback right now. And it's a good showdown between the two characters, quick draw situation, and it plays out really nicely for Sabine, who does not kill Fen Rao, even though she does win the draw basically, but she's able to disarm him, shoots his gun out of his hands, and again sort of proves her worth, her superiority to him in combat without killing him, realizing that they do need Fen Rao if they're going to make this plan work. But, of course, it escalates. There's no, again, Fen Rao says it before the draw, there's no way they're leaving here alive unless Fen Rao is killed. So, yeah, time to stop the rebels and capture the rebels. And that's when Sabine blows up all their ships. And all but one. Fen Rao, he's gonna be able to get away. She wasn't able to get the explosive over to his ship, so he's gonna take off and get out of there. Yeah, so Fenrir wants them captured alive so that they can watch their fleet burn. Those are his words. And so he's taking off to go fight a fleet? It's a little curious. I'm not going to lie. I'm not quite sure what his thought process is here. And he also takes off without his bucket. That's a bad choice because that's also going to play out here very, very quickly as well. So they go after Fen. Sabine's taking care of the Mandos on the ground. She's going to get the Phantom and Chopper, and they're gonna pursue after Kanan, who is now riding on Fenrir's Fangfighter. And it's a great sequence. It's really fun. Kanan on the wing of the ship, disabling the ship, then running up to the cockpit, stabbing it through the cockpit, disabling the ship even further. Then popping the canopy, knocking out Fenrir, and then taking a prisoner aboard the Ghost, going back to Phoenix Squad. But again, it would have been a lot harder to be knocked out if you had your bucket on, bud. So maybe think about that in the future. I mean, I guess he didn't want to run back into the table with his broth to get his bucket, but bad choice, my friend, because you got knocked the heck out by Kanan Jarrus with his lightsaber. Again, a fun sequence. It looks really great visually. I love the way Kanan standing on the cockpit, is like, still think we're going to lose. It's great parts. Really, really good stuff. And Fenrir sort of, now that he's a prisoner, it sort of buys some clemency for the rebellion. He tells his people to not say anything to the Empire about the rebels. It's now going to be a secret, and Fenrir is taken prisoner, and he's sort of like a political prisoner, sort of like an ally, but it's like a cover story at the same time. It's the beginning of something complicated for Fen and the Mandalorians, and if you remember, it's not going to go very well for the Mandalorians in the long run, but we will get to that down the road. So yeah, Fenrir's sort of, kind of an ally-ish, but he's also sort of like a political prisoner-ish. And the rebels get what they want, which is the route through Concord Dawn. But as we said, the Empire, they haven't invested in Concord Dawn. So yes, there will be consequences. There will be repercussions. But again, overall, I enjoyed the episode. I think it's fun. I like that Hera's making this diplomatic push. That instead of fighting and making more enemies, the Mandalorians, even though they are people that are sort of scattered at this point, why make an enemy of the Mandalorians when you can make friends? And I like that Kanan wants to honor that even after Hera's injuries. So, and Sabine actually coming around as well to that point of view, even though it seems like she wants vengeance the entire time. But she's going to respect her friend, her sort of surrogate mother figure in Hera, but she's just doing it her way. She's blowing things up and shooting people in the hands. That's what's going on. So I dig the episode. I think it's a lot of fun. It sets up some stuff moving forward. So I give it 8.5 buckets. 8 buckets, a strong 8 buckets for sure. I might lean 8.5 because I'm feeling a little generous. Just love those Mandalorians. But yeah, good stuff, good times, good action in this episode. It was super fun and fast-paced as always. So 8 glorious buckets for the protector of Concord Dawn. All right, Bucketheads, I think that's going to do it for us this week. We will be back to talk more Star Wars Rebels in the very, very near future. Please make sure you are following us on the socials. This is the Mandovision podcast. I am your host, Narguy Tom. Find us on the socials, Mando_Vision, Twitter and Instagram. Blue Sky, just Mandovision. And then you can email the show, mandovisiontom@gmail.com. Another reminder to please make sure you're liking, subscribing, following, and sharing the show with all the Mandalorians in your covert. And if you're on the Apple Podcast, sweet 5-star reviews. They help us out and make sure we don't get lost in the intergalactic shuffle of the bajillion Star Wars podcasts that currently exist. All right, Bucketheads, go out there. Be great Star Wars fans. It's a great time. We're going to have a great summer. It's going to be so awesome. Oh, hey, happy Memorial Day to everybody out there. Hopefully you have the day off. I don't, but that's okay. Hopefully you do and you have a good, fun, safe weekend. Go hit the pool, go hit the beach, go grill some steaks, whatever it is you get up to, go have fun. We'll be back. Talk to you guys next time. But remember, this podcast, it can only end one way. This is the way.
This is the way.
This is the way.
This is the way. You expect me to search the galaxy for the home of this creature and deliver it to a race of enemy sorcerers?
This is the way.